Hello, people of the internet. It's been a while since I've made a YouTube video, but today I wanted to talk about my experience with bipolar depression type 2 and birth control. This has been a big part of the last couple months for me, and I learned a lot that I didn't know before, so I'm hoping to share that with you all. So, enjoy. About 4 months ago, I was like, I don't even know anymore, like a year and a half into my diagnosis journey with bipolar 2, on my medications. I had had a stable medication system with an antidepressant and a mood stabilizer for most of that time period, and I was feeling pretty good, but there was still something kind of off. Like I still wasn't feeling where I wanted to be, which can be really confusing because I know that I'm not supposed to be happy all the time every day of my life. That's not how life works for anyone, but there's still just kind of this underlying dissatisfaction with where my mood was. It's really hard to put into words, but you gotta trust your intuition about your own body and your own mental health. And then I started watching these videos about women who were going off the birth control pill and kind of questioning the birth control pill. And a lot of them talked about the mood aspects because depression is a side effect of some of the birth control pills. And it got me thinking, you know, I was put on the pill like 7 years ago by my doctor when I was 16 or 17 because I was having periods so heavy that I couldn't get through one class period in high school. And I was getting lower back pain so bad that I had to stay home from school some days. So, oh, and my acne. I had really bad hormonal acne. So they put me on the pill and it fixed a lot of that stuff. So I just didn't question it. It was like, this is a miracle drug. And I never went off of it. Editing room Sophie here. I just realized that my camera cut out. So I wanted to add in that once I kind of realized that this was a miracle drug and it was working for me, I just stayed on it, and I never really questioned the fact that there were a lot of side effects. And I didn't care. I was young and I just wanted pretty skin and to not have to bleed once a month. And the pill has strong ties to depression. I had genetic proclivity to depression. We have it in our family. And that, you know, probably not a good duo. That is also the time my depression really started to kick in. But correlation isn't causation. I probably would have gotten depression anyways, and I think it had more to do with the genetics than the drug, but it could have kind of triggered the onset because I had the genetic proclivity. I don't know. It's so complex. I figured now that I'm older, and I'd been on it for so long, it would be interesting to go off of it and see if it helped my mood. So I set up an appointment with my psychiatrist because he had warned me that my birth control mitigates some of my mood stabilizer. So if I were to ever go off of it, we would need to preemptively lower that drug so that I'm not on way too high a dose. It wasn't an easy decision because I knew making a change to hormones that had been consistently put into my body for 7 years was gonna mess up my mood at least for a bit while my body adjusted. And I was just kind of doing well, but I decided that I was in a place where I had the time to try it out, and there's just something that was telling me that it was worth a shot because, like I said, I just kind of felt like I wasn't where I wanted to be. And also there were a few other health reasons why I was interested in getting off the pill. So I watched a lot of videos of like what other women had experienced when they went off of this. I found this book called Beyond the Pill by Dr. Jolene Brighton, which was really interesting. I really liked the way that she emphasized, you know, the pill is fantastic and it's really useful. As a woman, like questioning it feels a little blasphemous because it is a hugely historical thing. The pill is to thank for a lot of the freedom that modern women have had. And it did a lot for me during the time that I was taking it. I mean, it allowed me to not miss school, and, you know, I didn't get my period for like 5 years, which was amazing. But she also talks about the stress that having those synthetic hormones can take on your body. And she not only gives advice for women who want to go off of it, she also gives advice for women who want to stay on it and want to support themselves and their health. Great book. If you're thinking about doing this, you have to read it. Highly recommend. Like 4 of my friends are passing it around right now, so I don't have my copy to show off. Anyway, so I read the book, I talked to my psychiatrist, I watched all these YouTube videos, and I felt like I was ready to go. I bought some supplements and went grocery shopping, bought a bunch of different health foods and things that were recommended, followed her 30-day program, lowered my Lamictal, went off of it. And there were a few things the first month as my body was getting adjusted, but it was a surprisingly smooth transition. I mean, some people share horror stories when they've been on it as long as I have. Women go off and they, their hair thins, they get the acne back that was the reason they got on it in the first place, they get crazy heavy irregular flows, migraines, I had heard horror stories. And it actually, for me, thank God, and I think probably because I was so regimented with this program. I mean, I quit coffee, I cut back on my sugar intake, I was eating a green smoothie every day, trying to eat really clean. I was doing everything I could to not have any of that happen. And at the end of the day, it's also just genetics and biology, and I don't know. I got really lucky, and it was a smooth transition. And the first month off of it, I was thriving. I was so happy. I was doing really well, really felt like myself. I felt like I had a lot of my personality back. And I wasn't having any moods, I wasn't having any problems. And I had my follow-up with my psychiatrist to see how the lowered dose was doing, and I told him, I'm doing great, I'm happy. I, of course, ran with it. It was like, the pill's to blame for all the issues in my life. I can't believe I was on it for so long, which, again, correlation is not causation. I had already done a lot of work to get mentally healthy. This was just another step. Also, I'm prone to placebo effects, so I don't know. But I was really excited about it. And then after that meeting, literally about a week later, I started cycling again. I was having some lows. I talked to my mom about it because I was really frustrated, and she reminded me that it takes about a month for medicine to even out in your system. So that would have been about the point where the lowered Lamictal dose would have been hitting me. So I got back in contact with my psychiatrist after I let it go for about 3 weeks, and I was really having some lows. I actually just had one about a week ago, and we decided to up my Lamictal again. Not back to the previous amount, but up to about higher than it is now, but still not to the previous dose. Yeah, I'm really happy I did it. I feel like there's kind of, as ooey gooey as it sounds, there's kind of a holistic spiritual side of it. I feel really in touch with my body. I did miss having my periods, as weird as that sounds. And, I get my PMS once a month, and I know when to expect that, and it's not the same as a low, and I can tell the difference. I've been feeling more myself recently than I've felt in a really long time. And again, I want to clarify that I am in no way insinuating that all of my depression is to blame on the pill, because it's not. I just think that it was one layer, and I think anyone who lives with bipolar depression type 2, mental health issues of any sort should probably consider it. Because I just realized that it's not even something that I considered in correlation with mental health until I went through this whole process. A couple weeks ago, I went to Portland to visit some friends, and I was talking to a friend from college, and he made a comment of oh, Sophie, just you seem really yourself. You seem really happy and content and yourself. And when people make comments like that, it just makes me, it's this huge swell of pride, because I have worked so hard for my mental health and to live a good life. And it just was this moment of, yes, I it's paying off. The work I'm doing is paying off. That is all from me today. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be making a video. It's really been a minute for me. If there is anything else mental health or, bipolar 2 related that anyone would be interested in me talking about, feel free to leave a comment. Yeah.